if the technology is with us. So the idea is that we're going to show you. We are generalist channel, so we have we're doing news, we're doing entertainment shows, but we're also doing more and more TV series, which is the main reason why we are here. And the bulk of our conversation is going to be related to what we're doing. So we are, as I told you, we've been around for more than 50 years. And the idea for us, given all the changes in the industry, was that we want to strengthen our leadership position in the film industry in Francophone Sub-Sahara Africa. So strengthening this entertainment shows, but we're also doing more and more TV series, which is the main reason why we are here. And the bulk of our conversation is going to be related to what we're doing. So we are, as I told you, we've been around for more than 50 years, and their know-how that could bring us their talent on screen, which is also something we believe is important to help the content travel. So we giving this what we're being taking so far. Obviously, we've started showing Nollywood content, and we had very good results in terms of audiences and reaction from the public. They used to buy it on DVD, and now we're starting some of the Nollywood content on screen. There are even some channels that are dedicated to Nollywood content. So just to tell you that what Nollywood is doing is working not only in your country but also in neighborhood francophone countries. Obviously, sometimes there's an issue regarding the way it's dubbed. So that's really something that I want to, before going into the co-production and all those stuff, one of the key issue is sometimes you need from the beginning. I'd like to. So this is our news set. So we have about more than 40 screens and graphics, all you can imagine, maps and interaction. That's a daily show, talk show. Okay, so just to show you what we're doing in terms of news and entertainment, and now let's go to the key issue, which is the series. Yeah, let's, in the interest of time. So this is a new series. Okay, so this is a Sibling Rivalry, which is a series of the first series worked really. It was really great for us because a lot of country, the French Caribbean, in Africa, the VOD platform, even airlines were interested in this, and this is the second one that we just produced recently, and that's about to go live soon. So let me though send. Introduce, as I said, Anna, which is heading the distribution arm. I know that she may have few voice issues, but we're gonna let her speak. Ladies' voice is always better.
Thank you, Amadou. I was here this morning, and I think that my voice was okay, and it will be okay now. Yeah, we are RTI Distribution. As I said this morning, RTI Distribution is an international distribution platform which aims to promote and distribute in Ivory Coast and abroad RTI own production as well as those of independent Ivorian producer. We have our strategy of co-production is an offensive strategy of market development through co-production since 20, comment on dit 2014? 2014. Over 100 hours of available distribution in our catalog. We will show you in a few minutes, and including 4,000 hours of private co-production. About 20 projects underway in the period of during 2 years. Now, since 2016 to 2019, okay. Local and international partnership, India with ZTV, for example, South Africa, France with Kwai Lagardère, for those who know, who collaborate with France, and um, many. Okay, go ahead. I apologize myself this morning because I say my English is like you, some of those speaks French. So we have a large network established with a large network established by RTE Distribution in 4 years to become one of the leading exporters of Ivorian and African fiction program of reference all over the world. A diversified client in Europe, in South Africa, in Luxembourg, Portugal, Asia, North America, with VOD in flight and TV channel. Um, we produce it. We show you a trailer, which was our best, our one of our best production, to show you the level of our production and the level of co-production we expect. So to finish, I think, is there anything? No, we will show you what we expect to do with Nigeria, but we don't begin now. We began since 3 years ago, and we will show you. Vibes. Okay, we will show you. It will be a surprise for some of you.
Okay, so you remember him, right? So this shows you what we're trying to do. We say we really need to bridge the gap. Ivorians love music from Nigeria, and we believe also that if Nigerians get to listen to Ivorian music, they start loving it. So the idea for us is that we're looking for partners with which we're going to co-invest, and it's important. The idea is that we're trying to look for stories that has a natural story arc between the two countries, so that it's easier for it's shot in both countries. So obviously, which means that not all projects qualify for this, but those projects that may qualify for a story that goes between the two countries, we would be interested to have the conversation. We believe it's important also, if possible, to have a Nigerian TV channel on board, so that with the Nigerian TV channel, we have the two hats. We are a TV channel, but we also have a distribution and co-production arm. So we could, sit on the table, knowing that it's been shown at least in two countries. It does bring a part of the budget on the table, and then what we need to do to finalize the budget, we could do it. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what we are trying to achieve, the way it works with us, and those projects that would fit this. The team is here. The contacts have been given, I think, through Ijoma. So please feel free to get in touch. And as I say, we believe it's important that you come on board with a TV channel. It's going to save us a lot of time. You're in Nigeria here, so try and find a TV channel already that's interested. We believe it's a prerequisite to speed up the thing. Otherwise, it could be a good project, but it's going to take more time. It's just the bias. So in the interest of time, if you could already have on board a TV channel, it would make things easier. Thank you very much. No, because the idea is that it's something new, doing co-production between two, and we've experienced with several countries, and we sense that when you have two channels, for example, ZTV, we did something with them which was shot in Dubai with an Ivorian businessman that went to Dubai. So they did shoot some scenes in Dubai, most in Dubai. They came to Abidjan for some scenes. It was much faster because ZTV was showing it, we were showing it. So the budget was completed, pretty quickly. The production part was we had to complete to take risk, the both parties, but it make things faster. Because one thing is to raise the money, one thing is to make the money. So when you have two TV channels, at least you have two revenue lines that are already here. And so you just need to complete. So it's just in the interest of time. We believe it's faster when you already have a channel on board. But a great project, we will look at it. Maybe it will take us 2 years, 3 years to do it. We're not close to it. It's just that we would like to have things that could start the relationship faster. That's just the idea.
Thank you very much, Amadou. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. So right now we'll call on Annabelle. Okay. So who's next? Okay. That one. Red table. Red table one. Red table two. Okay. All right. Can please, Mr. Paul, come forward? Mr. Paul, can you please come forward? Ariyike Olatipo, please. Mr. Kunle Afolai, he can't be here, so there's no need. He's moderating.
Okay. I think I want to sit down this time. Just permit me.
You will rest this weekend. Now we need you upbeat.
All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Amadou, for taking time to come to Nigeria, to Lagos, because you have. I believe this is part of your content strategy to form those collaborations within this region. We are all in West Africa, and like you said earlier this morning, we share the same culture, the food. There's so much we have in common, but up till now, we have never been able to come together to do something in the audiovisual space in film and television. And I think that this is the beginning of new things to come. Just before I introduce the other panelists, I just want to touch a bit on what you said about being open to collaborations and your preference with channels and producers. The truth is, here it's a bit different. What you expect the channels to be doing, the producers are actually the ones doing it. So, yes, so it's a very unique it's a very unique situation here in Nigeria because there are just very few channels that are aggressive in terms of producing content, in terms of doing co-productions, in terms of doing this kind of partnership. So yes, you really have to be very open, and then whoever comes up with a channel that is serious, or maybe an independent producer who is serious, but you really have to be very, very open because it's not exactly what works in other places here. When it comes, you have to really understand the territory and see what is obtainable. All right. So having said that, we're going to look at how what is obtainable here in Nigeria vis-a-vis what is obtainable in Cote d'Ivoire and how we can marry the two together. I have Mr. Paul Igwe here and Arike Oladipo. Paul is the president of the biggest umbrella body of independent producers in Nigeria. And Arike here is his vice president. So they're going to also share with you some of the things that as producers working with you, hopefully, what the things that you should expect, and just give you a bit of a general overview perspective of what is obtainable in Nigeria. So Paul, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you, Jamo. Um, when I spoke in the morning, I tried to introduce the association to the audience. Electronic Media Content Owners Association. That's the name, but the acronym is MQUAN. It's an association of investors, content owners. These are people who have actually invested their money. We're not just producers. We're a group of corporate producers who have actually invested. We didn't go to source funds and all that. That's why it's called content owners. You know, there's this understanding. The moment you talk about producer, the general term is, okay, this is the person who puts this together. Yes. But in our case, a lot of us are, not a lot, all of us are investors. Okay, we own content, we make decisions with regards to the content. And I would say that more than 80% of the successful shows, independent shows you see on the Nigerian TV, the owners are members of this association. Now, what's so special about us? We are a group of people who understands what every kobo or every sefer means in investment. We don't just invest. We're not people who got people to sponsor. We didn't just get sponsors, but we're people who understand that every kobo that is put into this project must yield. There must be a reason for this couple going into the project. You know, there are some producers who they look for sponsors, they get sponsors, and they are not concerned with that if the funds that is being put into the project would come back to the owner. They're not interested. But in our case, we are interested. Now, apart from that, we are a group of people who have been trained. We're always training our members. We're training our members to make sure that our content, whatever we produce, are always top notch. And I think to an extent we have proven that we have some of the most popular shows in the whole of Africa, even though produced here in Nigeria. Um, Co-production or partnership. If you need to work with us, I think your if that is your decision, or when you take that decision, I think first you'll be making the right decision because you're not doing business with novices. You're doing business with people who know exactly what they want, people who believe in quality. First, somebody said something in the morning. It sounded funny, but he had a point. Oliver, it has always been content is king, and that is what we believe. But we say there's something we say in M1. We say we are the king makers. We're not just kings, but we are the king makers. But he said something this morning. He said content is king, but quality content is king. That was what he said. We at M1 believe in quality content. I saw a few clips of what you just, and for me, it wasn't it's something we can deliver, yet something we will even deliver better if given the opportunity. I want to say that the idea of doing a co-production, having something, some part shot in Lagos, some part shot in Abidjan, for us, we have experienced hands. This is Mr. Upper Williams here. He's a member of the association. He's been shooting in Kenya for years. In fact, he has a studio in Kenya. Sorry, sir. Sorry, I'm saying this, but I'm sorry. No, he has a very big studio in Kenya. He's been shooting. He's been filming in Kenya. So I have other people in the house. I have RTTV who are experienced. That is Royal Root. A couple of them, if I begin to mention them, there's so many of us. And somebody, in fact, the chairman of the BOT, MFR, that's Mr. Wale Adenuga, is the producer of the popular show Super Story. I'm sure you've heard about Super Story, Papa Jasco. These are English content, but I'm sure somehow you've it's an association that has the big names, the heavyweights. So I'm saying all this to guarantee that doing a project, partnering with M1 or the producers, um, is a win-win for us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just to add to what he just said, I'd like to say that you were saying something about working with TV owners to make it easier. I'll just say, because it said all, that working with us, you may not necessarily need to work with TV owners. Reason being that we already have all the equipment. Most of us have state-of-the-art equipment that we can use. Because I'm sure it's based on that you're talking about maybe collaborations with TV stations. Most of independent producers are the in MQuan are owners of large studios of up to date, international standard equipment that you may not have need to partner with the TV stations. You can work with us because we are sure that whatever we give you will be of high quality. Most of what we have done in the past, most of the producers under umbrella have worked with a lot of multinationals. They've been commissioned to do stuff for them. So we know we can assure you that whenever you join us or whenever you decide to work with us, you're going to get the best. In terms of equipment, we have everything. In terms of storytelling, we are masters at it. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Arike. I just want to add two important points here. I just want to add two important points here. First of all, Amadou and Anna, in MCOAN, I've worked with most of those producers for a long time, and we have a couple of them that started as independent producers, but today they are now TV channels. We have WAP TV, we have R2 TV, we have Rave TV, we have Jive TV. So these are all independent producers, and they are all seated here. They all started off as producers, but now they are channel owners. They are running paid TV channels on different platforms. So I just thought it was very, very important to drop that point to say that beyond, a lot of them are working towards, because they've gathered content over years, and they keep producing on a very consistent basis. So they've been able to start building their own channels. So if you want to maybe work with a channel as your preference, or you want to work with, I think why he's coming from the angle Amadu is talking about in terms of recouping the revenue. Yes, yes, yes. So that is why he's looking at the TV. Yes, because already for a producer, I'm sure you can throw more light so that you can understand, yeah, the revenue angle on that.
Okay, yeah, obviously, as I was telling you, the idea is that we know that if we invest only for the Ivorian market, let's say I'm just throwing a number like this just to make calculation easy. Not if you're spending $10,000 for an episode, for example, I'm just throwing a number like this to make the math easier. Let's say you get 50% of the revenue locally in terms of advertisement, for example. You need another 5,000 to recoup your investment. So those other 5,000, you're going to get it by selling it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels abroad, to VOD platforms. so you're going to recoup your investment by selling it to other platforms. So the idea that the more money to make the investment easier, the more visibility you have on the revenue, easier it is to make the decision. So this is why the idea is to go back to my $10,000 example. If I know that I'm gonna, as a TV channel, make $5,000, for example, in terms of, I could say, okay, if I show it, I'm gonna pay $4,000 for showing it because I'm gonna make $5,000 and I get the 1,000 on top of it. So we already had 4,000, and then a Nigerian TV channel says the same. They say, okay, we're gonna make 6,000, and so we give 4,500. So we have already 8,500 on the table, which is guaranteed revenue. That was the idea. So the risk is only for 1,500. It's just on this perspective, which is that when you start shooting, at least you have 50, 60% of 80, I don't know, whatever, revenues that are guaranteed by the channels. Otherwise, if you know your market and you know that you're going to sell, you're going to be the one telling us that it's fine. We know that we can sell it. Even if we don't have them on board, we know that we're going to sell it. Then the question is, who funds it in the meantime while you're doing the production? So for us, it was just this, because we have two hats. You know, we have the hats of being the producer and owning the content and selling it, and the hats of showing it. So we know the level of revenues that's guaranteed when you greenlight a project as we showing it. So that was just the idea. But if you guys are comfortable as producer with the amount of money you can get on your market, and you say, you know what, we're gonna make this on the local market easily, and we fund it, and we're gonna recoup it because you're gonna distribute it there.
All right. Thank you very much, Amadou. We're also going to look at, you're going to give us a bit of insight in terms of production budgets, kind of budgets that you work with. Maybe Anna, you should can answer that. Yeah.
Okay, today we are looking for good stories and volume because we noticed that we are broadcaster. When we could produce it before for us for to broadcast on our channels, so we need to have too many hours of content. And after good stories, you have stories. You know storytelling, but yesterday some of you were talking about story with many juju, and you have to see over kind of story. So we have to you should come with to us with story who are which we have in common, which can cross all the countries,
Okay.
and we are looking for volume of content because today 20 or 30 episode of 26 minutes, we can do it in our country. If you come for co-production, we want a new value. So
Like what?
it's-
Like what number of episodes?
if you have 50 episode or come on, 100 episode, 200 episode, we can take it. We can take it. But I want to ask you a question. How many are you in your association, and which volume of content you have?
That's our catalog. That's catalog of members and their content. But what else, please? In the association, we have over 50 active members, and some of us have shows that run over 300 episodes. Some have shows that run over 400 episodes. I can tell you that Clinic Matters, the one everybody knows, has over 350 episodes and was just shooting. I can call some other shows. So for us, volume is not a problem if you want to buy content. Buying content, volume is not a problem for us. But in terms of co-production that we're talking about, if you want to produce, can we have an idea of the number of episodes? It's an association, right? M1 is an association, but an association with independent producers. Depending on Okay, please hold on, please. Depending on what kind of agreement you want, what kind of contract you're looking at, there is none that we can't handle.
This morning we were talking about data or to know your market. We want to co-produce together. We have to do this work together. You come with a project. We analyze the market. What is the demand? What people want to see? And today we noticed that telenovelas took place on our channel TVs. Telenovela talk about love, poor girl who married a rich man. You have to think about, I don't know, I don't say the same stories, but kind of story which can permit us to permit our content to take the place of this kind of program. We can't arrive with our own stories only and say that uh, with with one with one wave we will take the place of telenovelas. So you say this morning, and I say too, you have to know our market. What is the demand? What people need to see on our TV? Now we can say you.
I'd like to add two things maybe. One thing is that we don't come here as a supplier client. You know, we're not looking for relationship with supplier client where we would come and you would produce and you would make the money out of selling us what you've produced. That's it has to be. Otherwise, there are markets where people come with finished content and you decide to buy it or not. And as I told you, we already do it for some of the contents that's produced by some of your players. The reason why we're here is the logic of the co-production. So this logic of okay, finding a project. She gave the editorial aspect that were concerned. Let's say, and this is not a bad figure, but to throw in a number, we could say $10,000 for 26 minutes, for example. That's on the higher. That let's say this. That could be a ballpark number because if it's a great project, the one you saw before, we much more than 10,000 in episode. But if we're talking longer, like 50 episodes, probably we're gonna get closer to the 10,000 by episode ballpark instead of 50 or 60 by episode. So what we're looking for, 50. I think 50 is a good bet. Why? Because to test the water, don't go into an investment that's so big so that you're betting, and if it doesn't work, a few million dollars, it's too late. Let's take 50 or 26 at the minimum, but 50 I think is a good target. And let's say a ballpark number without seeing the project, without seeing anything, of $10,000 cost of production by episode. This could be a number, if I had to throw a number like this, but it will depend on the project. If we're excited about the project, if the level of the project, we believe that it could travel much faster, much more than only the two countries, obviously then we're going to put more money on the table because we believe that we can sell it to maybe pay TV guys in South Africa, we can sell it to guys in Nigeria, in London or whatever. So it will depend on the potential of the project. But if you ask me to throw in a number, that's what I could throw like this, you know.
So $10,000 an episode, conservatively. Okay, $10,000 an episode for the partnership or collaboration project. That is what he's looking at conservatively, depending on the kind of project it is. I don't know. Are we clear on that? You're not clear. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to also ask you, in terms of your programs, your productions that have done well, that have traveled international, original version in French, and then English version dubbed into English. Can you give us like an idea of your most successful original program that was dubbed into English and has been sold across? Please, can we just have one house? Can you give us an idea of those kind of shows? What kind of budget was it? Was it just your 100% financed by RTI, or it was a collaboration? And also, if you can throw more light to what you did with Z, with the Indians and with South Koreans, we appreciate that.
Okay, obviously the two are above the $10,000 episode, but it was shorter. Z c'était 26 ou 13 épisodes. With ZTV it was 26 episodes and it was above the 10,000 mark. That's why I say let's start about the project first and then we'll talk about finance. If you ask me to throw in a number, I would throw that number. And the way I do things, I'd rather start small and have something
Sorry,
going.
please, can we just have one house so that we are not distracted? Please, can we pay attention, please? Thank you.
Instead of coming here and say we're gonna do 100,000 by episode or 50,000 by episode and nothing happens after, And I agree with that. Some people might think it's not exciting enough, it's not big enough. Fair enough. I'd rather say that, and then we believe, we start the conversation, we start with something, and then maybe tomorrow it grows better. Because the one you saw just with, Fabian is much higher than 10,000 an episode. So that's the idea. So the project that was successful as of now, the budget was much more than 10,000 an episode. But we believe in the volume.
Half hour, 1 hour?
Half hour. Yeah, we're
Okay.
talking half hour.
Oh, you don't do 1 hour?
We do one. You just multiply. It's just the ballpark number of
Okay.
10,000 for half an hour.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So the shorter, the higher we go in terms of the budget.
Okay. And is this the most successful so far in terms of international sales?
The two with ZTV was sold in Pakistan. It was sold in in the Middle East. It was extremely successful. I think for ZTV in Dubai, it was extremely successful.
And
They ranked very high in a lot of countries. In our region, it was a bit less successful. It was a good success, but less successful than it was on the other side, because it was more 85% was there, and 50% it was one character that was coming into the show. So it was more biased toward them than us in terms of the content and the budget. They funded more than us.
okay, so can we talk a bit about distribution now, Anna? In terms of like the projects you've done, the collaborations you've done, when there is sales, international sales across different territories, how do you do what are the commercial terms between you and, for instance, the Z you mentioned? Do you share revenue? Is it so? Can you give us an idea how that works?
Yes, it's a revenue sharing we do share revenue sharing, and we finish to comment dire,
You recoup.
we recoup our investment, and after we sharing the revenue.
Okay, so in terms of recouping investments, is it done through the advertising revenue or through the international sales?
No, international sales, not advertising.
Not advertising.
No.
Okay, so international sales, through sales, you are able to, through the first window, the second window. At
Yeah.
what point do you recoup? First window, second window,
Oh, you have to wait second window. I think. Second windows, even
Okay.
two windows.
and with some levels of exclusivity. What is the period?
Oh, two and 2 for 3 years. Don't think that because you invest this year you will recuperate your money this year. No, you have to wait 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so the gestation period is between 2 to 3 years.
Because when we sign, for example, for distribution, you say that when you sign for distribution, you say this morning I was talking about, we give you a minimum, we say it
MG?
in French, minimum guarantee,
Mhm.
a lower price, to say you that to make you patient, to encourage you. So we have this, and we come 1 year after to say you we sell in different countries. This is your part.
Okay, so just to explain what she's trying to say, when you co-produce with maybe an independent producer or you commission them and you give them money, you put money on the table for the production to happen, and then when it's ready, when you have the finished product, you still give the producer an MG, right? So you give the producer an MG before you start making the sales, and then when you make the sales, you recoup the investment first, and then you start revenue sharing. All right, thank you.
And one thing to add, the distribution depends on the strength of the partner in some areas. So if, for example, we work with Nigerian companies, obviously we're not going to sell in Nigeria. He's going to handle the distribution part in Nigeria. So it's an agreement that we do. Which territory do you think you can sell? Which partner you think you have a special relationship that you think could be leveraged for the benefit of both parties? And we write this in the agreement. So there's the agreement about the funding. So there's a budget of the production, who brings what aspect in terms of, I don't know, equipment or whatever, what's the value of what they're bringing to the table, what's the cash amount that need to be paid, and then given the fact that we're going to show it in your channel, there's a purchase price for RTI1, so the purchase price is this much to have the right to purchase it, and the minimum guaranteed for the distribution, so all that the producer also may bring a part of his money to the table, and we start selling, and we start pre-selling. We try and also sometimes to pre-sell to
Pre-sell.
other guys.
Okay.
And she didn't respond to the windows. Usually it's 6 months. We try to have, like, we would show it in our country and it would be 6 months or 3 months if we believe that there's a lot of money to be made. we'll shorten the time window once we've shown it to be able to sell it to Pan-African guys, like example for TV5, Mon, or Canal Plus, or whatever might be interested. We're just pragmatic because we're also producer. We're owning the value. So once we've shown it, if we think that the money can come faster, because then when they say showing, they might ask for 6 months exclusivity. So the earlier they start, the earlier you can start selling to other guys the second, third window.
Okay, thank you very much. But in Nigeria, we have very peculiar situation. For instance, RTI has a distribution arm, and also I'm sure the other broadcasters you've worked with in other countries, they also have distribution arms. But here in Nigeria, we don't really have TV channels who also run distribution arms. So in terms of the model you're currently running, where you expect that the TV channel is going to handle sales. So if they're not doing sales, what happens? Where you have a TV channel who is ready to put down the money, but in terms of distribution, they're not strong. They do not have a distribution because distribution is a business on its own. All right. So where in a country like ours, where you don't really have channels with their own distribution arm, so how would you adapt to the situation?
There's a saying that I like is that you can make money alone. So the idea is that if the TV channel or the producer doesn't know how to sell, we're going to find a third party that can help sell in the country.
Oh, fantastic. So I just wanted to clear that bit. I just wanted us to be clear on that because here, it's very unique. The role producers are playing here in Nigeria, they've taken over the role of the broadcasters because the broadcasters, you saw the session before now, the model they're operating is quite different. They're not really, there are just very few broadcasters here in Nigeria who understand this business of television, that you have to invest, you have to put money, you have to put money into production, you have to commission, and then first you put it on your channel, the original programming, and then you start doing international sales. So we are still trying to get to the level. It's not something that you will get by default here. So the producers have taken play, have stepped into the shoes of these broadcasters, and that is how some of them who are now channel owners actually started off as independent producers, and today they now own their own channels. So now we're going to take questions. I'm sure you're very clear on some of the things that we're talking about. We're looking at making content that can go global. We're not just producing now for local consumption. We're looking for content that can travel across the territory, that can travel across Africa. So if they can produce with Indians and it was even more successful international than locally, that's quite eye-opening for each and every one of us, that this content is traveling to Pakistan, is traveling to the Middle East, and they're well consumed and well appreciated. That tells us that there is opportunities, there are potentials for us to begin to do international business where we can have this kind of collaborations, have this kind of discussions, have this kind of engagements, and then begin to see how our stories and our productions can go beyond just what we have locally. So I'm very excited with this discussion, even though I don't play in the production space, but it's a very good welcome development that we can begin to look in this direction. We can begin to have this kind of conversations. So thank you again for your time. And so we're going to take one or two questions. You have questions for them? Okay.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. My name is Cassandra. I work with Aforevo. So I have a question because you talked a lot about co-production and distribution for co-produced projects. So is that the only type of project that you distribute, projects that you've co-produced? That's one question. The second question is, do you favor any particular kind of content over others? So is it just series, or do you also do co-productions for movies or for scripted reality TV shows or for game shows?
Okay, we don't do co-production only for our own project. We receive projects of producer or director, c'est ça, non, c'est ce qu'elle veut ça, of director or those who the people who have initiative. And your second question was no. This I think Amadou can give you a response.
Okay, yeah. Initially, we started by TV series. To be honest, we wanted to make sure that first we had, as I told you, I'm pragmatic, so I'd rather start small and then grow more and more. So as of now, we've not done in terms of scripted and others. Or game shows. Sorry, but we started with series. We just did one animation about the former president of Ivory Coast when he was young. Company came to us for a feature 1 hour 30 minutes about this, the childhood of a former president. So we immediately wanted to be associated with the project because he was ambitious to do that. And there's another movie. It was in two parts. The first part was a big success, so we came with the second part. And the interesting part was that one of the character in the second part was coming from Ghana. Was coming from Ghana. Is a leading actor from Ghana that came in. Just to say that we're trying to now bridge the gap and bring people from other setting to add flavor to what we are doing. But yes, 90% of what we're doing is series, and we distribute production that we didn't fund initially. But one thing maybe I have to say regarding the Nigerian content, one of the issues we're struggling with now is that, as I say, we started by showing some of them, but now there are more and more channels available. So the questions for us as a generalist channel, we don't want to show the volume. We want to show the premium. So now, in terms of purchasing finished product, which we also do, and Baba is somewhere here. Yeah, he's the head of programming for RTI1. We look for premium Nigerian content. So there's this issue of, given the volume that you produce, you need to be able to make it easy to separate those that really can produce the top. There's a need for that because there's channels that are buying the volume, but there are others that are looking for the best of what Africa has to offer. And we are more in terms of purchasing finished product. We would purchase content that's at the highest end. We would like to have a conversation regarding purchasing it, dubbing it, and investing in the dubbing. Because if you don't invest, for example, with ZTV, given it was a new and all that, so we trying to not spend too much on dubbing, which we believe is one of the reasons why it wasn't that much of a success in the region, because the dubbing was a lower quality. That's the learning curve that we bring to the table. We know that you need to invest in the dubbing. Otherwise, your product is viewed as a volume. Even if the quality is there, if the dubbing is not good, it's viewed as volume. So we need good quality. We could dub it and even distribute it in Francophone Africa if we believe in the project. But it has to be premium. We don't want to distribute thousands of hours. You see, we only have 1,000 hours of Ivorian content. So we might take 50 hours, 100 hours of Nigerian content to start with, but it has to be premium.
Okay, thank you, please. Yeah, my take is on dubbing. Tango mentioned dubbing now. One feels that a good way to unleash the potentials in African production is if you have strong dubbing platform, because now we have issues dubbing from one language to the other. You have Yoruba content, Igbo, Hausa. Imagine if you have a strong dubbing platform. You dub the content, and as an IP lawyer, I understand how ownership in rights comes. When you dub, you have share in that content. So when you dub, you can either use on your platform, or you distribute and share revenue with the producer. So one would think that instead of trying to start co-production now, start that of dubbing first. Unleash that potential, create more values for those contents. From the values you get, you'll be able to now enter into co-production along the line. But already there are lots of contents on ground, close to 100,000 hours. Premium content, work with those ones. Language content, get those ones, work with those ones. Then tomorrow you can start co-production. My take.
Okay, so this is purely the take of a distributor. So he's a bit biased, and you must excuse him because he's a distributor. And then so he's trying to say, okay, we already have this content. Why don't you even start with what we have? But again, I think it's important we balance it between. They're very much open to finished products, as much as also open to do. Yes, okay, finished products just has to be premium, high end content, high end premium content. So that is what the focus is now, and it's very, very clear on that. It's not just looking for any kind of content, but it has to be content that is very, very high in terms of production values, in terms of quality of everything, storytelling and production. Have any other question? Okay, just one more question and we'll be rounding up. We'll take the last point. Okay.
Yeah. My name is Isaac Moses. I'm also a content producer. Now, I understand that when you license a content and you have to do the dub, how far does this affect the licensing fee?
When you invest in dubbing.
Uh, no, it doesn't affect. Excuse me. Sorry. I think that it doesn't affect. As Amadou say, it's a negotiation because we make investment to dub your content to distribute it. If you have to do it, what what you what what do you want to have if you dub it to come with a finished work to give us to distribute? It's a negotiation, so we don't think about now. If we have the deal, we will try to see what each of over have to put on it and win.
Hello, everybody. Um, Personally, I have a big issue with dubbing because, from a content point of view, you can't get the true feelings, the true expression of the actors. Dubbing is like acting on top of an acted version. So, I want to ask, would you prefer a ready-made French version, so to speak, before you can dub into any other language, or you prefer English and dub? Because dubbing takes away some values in terms of finance. You know, you are talking about how much you're going to use to dub, and we do the plus minus
So
and
just
all that. But that's less on my part as a producer.
so I just want to understand, are you saying as a producer you're going to cast Nigerian
Yes,
French
yes.
speaking
I'd rather
Nigerian
do that
actors
than allow you to dub
that can
and take
speak
5 naira
French?
for my money.
And you also know that there are different versions of French. So what kind of French are they going to be
Yes.
speaking? Do they speak Ivorian French?
Why not?
Um, John, I think I understand this part, but John, you also, John, can you hear me? Even if we shoot in French language, we'll still need to do dubbing in English, dub it to English, if you understand me. So we can't run away from that. If you shoot it in English, it has to be done in French, and if you do it in French, we still need to go back. So we're still spending. But you know they are talking about distribution, and they are trying to go beyond the French market.
Yeah,
They
so
don't
you
want
can't.
content
So
across board.
yes,
That's the
so the whole
challenge.
essence is for the content to be able to travel. It's
Yeah.
not if they were just producing. Sorry, can we just listen? If they're just producing locally, then they don't have to be here. So it has to be. It has to be symbiotic. There has to be that coming together to make something that can be appreciated locally and also international. All right. I think I'm going to take the last words from Anna, from everybody here, and then we have. They're still available. There is a dinner tonight. They are hosting us in a dinner. I'm sure you would have gotten the invite. Please, if you have not responded, make sure you respond. Jama said she didn't get. Please check your mails. I am pretty sure everyone who is involved in television got that invitation for the dinner. Thank you, Amadou, for coming all the way from Cote d'Ivoire to host us here in Nigeria in the dinner. Thank you for, and we hope that you have you experience Nigerian hospitality. So just the last word from you, and then close.
Okay. I will just say that I'm happy to be here to meet Nigerian producer and the ecosystem of TV in Nigeria, and I wish that it's a beginning of a deal between RTI and Nigerian producer.
All right. On behalf of the Nigerian producers and MQuan, I want to first of all thank you for taking this bold step. It is not easy taking this decision to come partner with Nigerian producers. I must say the truth, that's risk already. So I want to appreciate you, and I also want to assure you that we will deliver. Nigerian producers are fantastic. You've seen what we've done with Nollywood, whether series or whatever format you want, whatever content, we will deliver. Thank you once again.
Okay, everybody, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. So, please, if you're from outside, please, can you just stand up so that they can see you and recognize you? Please, let's put our hands together for them, the team from outside. Let's appreciate them. Thank you, and see you later tonight at the RTI dinner. Thank you.
Hello. 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 Please, can we get ready for the next session? Enwere onye NBC officials, Mr. Onye na neighbor. Matthew on neighbor. Is Matthew here? Is he here? Okay. Okay. National Broadcasting. Okay, representing the DG of National Broadcasting Commission is Mr. Matthew Okodoa. Please come forward. Jerry Siche, can you please come forward? And Mr. Victor Akpara. Mr. Victor, thank you. Ariyike Oladiko, can you please come forward? You should have just taken a position. No, come down again. Me, moderate. Mike. Nah. Ijama. Ijama. He's moderating. Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul.
All right. Ijoma.
Hello, hello, hello.
Wait, wait, wait.
Um, Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to have a roundtable discussion, and this is we have the regulators um, from MBC, and we have members of MCON. Let's just introduce ourselves again quickly, starting from my good doctor here.
I am Matthew Kudwa, the Zonal Director, Lagos National Broadcasting Commission.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Okodua. Matthew Okodua, Director, Lagos Operations, National Broadcasting Commission.
My name is Agatha Mata, Rave TV, Inside Out Media.
All right.
I am Paul Igwe. I represent Whitestone Cinema.
My name is Victor Akpala. I work for Dope 7 Productions.
You work for?
My name is Arike Oladipo, April Ventures Limited. Arike Oladipo, April Ventures Limited.
Okay. Thank you very much. The earlier discussions we had, Mr. Ayo Animashan raised an issue about the payment of airtime, you know, and I think for producers that's a very, very big issue. It's good that we have a regulator here. So I would like to start from you, sir. What is the position of NBC on the sale of airtime by TV station and the purchase of the same by producers?
NBC look at it as simply a business relationship between the content producer and the broadcasting station. It's an option you can reject. Yes, it's an option you can reject or accept. I've gone through it before. And if that is the only way by which they can accept your content, you look at it that way. There's no law that says they should not collect money from producers before transmitting your programs.
Okay,
They simply
sorry,
say
sir.
the airtime.
Yeah, we're asking this question vis-a-vis the fact that anywhere else in the world, you will never find such practice. And I believe that as regulators, you'll be concerned about doing business how it should be done.
You see, the business model in other countries may not necessarily work here because this is a fledgling democracy. I use the word may not necessarily work here. Then two things you have to know is if you, the content producer, fail to protest to the commission, we may not know whether you are suffering or whatever it is. So if you now coalesce among yourselves and send a petition to the commission, then we can look at it. But as it is now, there's just nothing we can do about that. It's only you, the producers, that can put yourself together and do something about it.
I would like to take reactions from producers. Let me start with Arike.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I like to say firstly that someone here in the house yesterday mentioned that about 20 years ago or so, thereabout, or 30 years ago, TV stations, TV, TV stations used to commission projects. We remember that programs such as Checkmate and Ripples were programs that were commissioned on NTA, and they got advertisers like Unilever and excuse me. Okay, they were not commissioned, but they were produced and then sponsored through the help of NTA at the time. They were commissioned and they were sponsored by Unilever and the likes then through the help of NTA, and that was what used to happen then back in about 30 years ago. Now we believe that it hasn't been working because we've realized that a lot of producers are burdened with the issue of going to source for money for productions. They go and produce, then the same producer goes to look for money to put the program on. I can't speak louder than.
Hello.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, so the independent producer is burdened with the with the ability to, burdened with the ability to go and source for money by themselves to produce, to put those programs on television, and also look for advertisers on that program. And at the end of the day, the producer, it comes back to the producer again, because the producer does not make up the money for that, whatever he's produced in a 26 episodes is like a long-term investment for a producer. You produce 26 episodes and you're unable to make your money back in the next 4 years, 3-4 years. So, and then you see yourself repeating such contents on television over and over again. And we've had situations where NBC would complain that some people they keep repeating programs, because sometimes the TV stations will say they were sanctioned by by NBC for repeating programs and that they don't want those programs repeated. We've heard things like that being said. So we are appealing to NBC to help us look into this problem, try and help us find a solution to the issue of us paying airtime to TV stations. Some of the TV stations request for very ridiculous rates that even no matter how you try, you can't break even. You find yourself working for them, because when NBC says you can carry only 6-minute spots, the money you pay, everything goes back to the TV station. You can't even make up for the money you've used for the production. So it's a big problem for producers to continue to be in business. So we're appealing to NBC, because we believe that you are the regulatory body for the broadcasters. You can like in one of maybe your next when you're reviewing your next NBC code, you can look into it and enforce on the broadcasters to begin to do the advertising themselves. They have commercial departments whose major job is to source for commercials and adverts for their programs on television.
Okay. Thank you very much, Arike. Let me take Agatha's reaction. Already it's established that you have never paid for airtime. Now, I don't want you to give flags to some of us who have been paying, But just give us an insight. What you think that
First of all,
that
okay, let me just. First of all, it's not NBC's job to. I don't think it's not. But NBC, you need to make it uncomfortable for them to do it. That's all. I remember a few years ago at Bob TV, the late Amaka Igwe, we had Bolarinwa, NBC DG then. And I remember sitting on a panel like that with him. And at that time, there were a lot of telenovelas on air at every single time of day. In fact, we had more telenovelas on air than local programming. And I told him, I said, you need to be sacked because this is the only country I know where you sit down and you're not sure what country you're in. You go from Mexico to Portugal to, I mean, it was ridiculous at the time. And you go to a country like the UK where their TV, local television is really boring. Houses under the hammer. Auction, one thing, one thing, one thing. They have all sorts of, you will watch polo. You will watch, but you can't take foreign programs and just come and throw on their free to air. It's not possible. Nigeria, the regulators are sleeping. That's what's wrong. NBC needs to wake up and join the rest of the world. If you're going to grow your industry, for your industry to go, the regulator must be on top of their game. Even Ghana, where at a time it was like they were flooding them with Nigerian movies, what did they do? They now made a law that you cannot bring a Nigerian movie without a Ghanaian star. That was what they did. I mean, how do you sit in your house? And you know, TV is an influencer. We're wondering why a child in Ajegunle, a young boy in Ajegunle is wearing earrings. Did he go anywhere to see it? He saw it on local TV. He didn't have to go far. And that is because the regulators are sleeping. So you are already showing your young people that being anything else but a Nigerian is better. Because even on your own local station where you can reach a lot of people at the same time, you are selling foreign. And then you are wondering what is going wrong. NBC is wrong. That's what's going wrong. So for me, here's what I think. I don't think NBC can tell people not to sell airtime. But I think NBC can put regulations in place that makes it impossible for the TV channel to thrive without the local content producer. Because when, as a local content producer, you are coming from a position of strength, then you have bargaining power. A situation where somebody tells me to come and pay airtime, and when I go outside the shores of this country, I see them struggling to buy foreign content that has made money in their own countries, and they are coming to give us. They now subtitle it and come and sell it to us in dollars, and then we put it. What happened at the end of that one when Bolarinwa was there? And you know, it's quite sad. So what the law that came after that panel discussion was that the DG of NBC said, okay, from now on, from 7 to 10, no more foreign content. And my colleagues started clapping. And I thought, what an embarrassment. Because if I had said anything more, then it would look like I'm a bad belly person. You know Fela's song where they say they won't dash you your property. Do you understand? What I think it should be that NBC should be you can't do more than 1 hour of foreign content on Nigerian television. That's what it should be, not the other way around. And so for me, that is, I think, what we should be looking at, what the regulator can do so that the local content producer can thrive in this environment.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will add something to it. Thank you for bringing up that angle. Like Agatha said, eventually those foreign stations were removed from prime time. Now, guess what's happening now? They have been moved to the normal children's belt that we know. So on our local television stations, there's no children's belt anymore. So I want us to weigh in on that. If NBC removed those foreign programs from the primetime belt, and now they are allowed on the normal children's belt, I wonder how what our children will be watching on TV. Please, sir,
Yeah,
just give us your reaction.
I really thank you for the observations, but let me come this way. Besides, the issue of prime time. That's the removal of all foreign programs from prime time was one thing I was coming to look at. But let me leave that because that has been said. But right now, you're not likely to find some of these foreign programs on our own prime time. That is steady. The next thing again is the commission has also said, or the court has also said, that local stations should have nothing less than, some few years back, it was 60% local content, moved to 70%, now 80% local content. That is, foreign normal stations, terrestrial stations should have nothing less than, yes. We are monitoring. No. It's not like that. See, let me tell you. I will tell you because I have the statistics you don't have. You know, you don't have. Because, for instance, if you look at a station that broadcasts for 24 hours, a station that broadcasts for 24 hours, how many hours will be 20%? So you may see that quantity, you say it's not enough. But what I noticed from what he's saying is that the foreign programs have been moved to children's belt. That is noted. Do you understand? But for the fact that we have encouraged local stations to produce programs that are strictly Nigerian and broadcast the same truth to Nigerians, we are progressing, we are moving forward. We have also said that in most cases, all our adverts, Nigerian adverts, should feature Nigerian artists. Products you have that must advertise in Nigeria. You know? So what happens is that, well, what happens is that that also is a policy that we enhance, you know, that we enhance Nigerian contents for Nigerians.
Sorry, sir. Is it enforced? Because I know that most of the commercials you see South African acts.
You listen to me. What I'm saying, the point is this: growing the industry itself. Hello? Growing the industry itself, we cannot say is solely the job of NBC. You have just, tomorrow I'm writing a report on the foreign programs on children's belts. Right? Now, if you complain like this to us, to the commission, I mean, action will be taken. Then two, we have also said that when you talk about independent producers paying for their airtime, what you would do is this: the commission cannot step in and say, "Don't pay." Make it a crisis. If you make it a crisis, the commission has the power to intervene when there is crisis. Just like what happened between COSON and TV and stations. If there's no crisis, if you keep quiet, we cannot force you to go and make crisis. Because the code recognizes the independent producers as what we call it now, as stakeholders in the industry. They produce programs, recognize that. So if independent producers, as I said, coalesce and make crisis, the commission can then step in. But if no complaint, no nothing, we don't have basis.
Sorry, sir. By this, are you saying that it is not possible for NBC to have this in the code? Because most of the things that is not possible.
It's strictly the business aspect of it. It's not possible.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So he has promised that he will write a report on that. Okay. So let's also discuss another thing that is a big worry for independent producers that we believe that NBC can be of a great help. And that's the digital switch over that we have heard almost forever. You know, almost every time a new government comes, they say, okay, we have moved it by a year and a half. And then another, you know, it's been going on and on. So let me have Victor weigh in on this. The digital switchover, which we have heard so much. and we're still on analog. Yeah?
Okay. I'm not a channel owner. I'm an independent producer. But maybe because before I say anything about that one, I just want to say a few things about the airtime stuff concerning new and upcoming producers. Why the environment is seems so hostile to new and upcoming producers? Because, like Madam said, when you are a fresh entrant into the industry, it's almost impossible to play in this space. It's almost impossible. Some of us, when we started, like myself, when I started, I was lucky to have Madam here. And one of the things that I did also was to adopt her own model. Because she told me, this is how I play. If you want to play like this, it will, I mean, that would be good. So I adopted her model, and then I did, because Lagos stations were killing people, killing businesses, and then making it impossible for you to survive. You can't owe them. They can't give you any kind of credit opportunity or any credit line. So you have to sometimes pay a quarter ahead. And very few young independent producers then could raise the money to pay. So what you see is a lot of people start, raise money to pay for the first quarter. And the problem is you go to the agency to seek for advertising. Now the agency will tell you that they have to wait for a quarter to monitor your program to see how it's doing, rating. Remember, you have paid for 1 quarter, hoping to recoup the money through advertising. And the advertisers are telling you they will have to wait for a quarter again. Meaning that you wait for a quarter and then your money is gone. So you get into the second quarter, have one, maybe you have paid 1.5 million for a quarter, get into the second quarter, get an advertising of 200,000. And then wait for like 8 months to get the 200,000. When finally they send you the report, they will use compliance to take 80% of the money. So it is almost impossible to play. So it killed a lot of businesses. That's why I'm surprised. I don't know. I didn't know that NBC doesn't have that power to outlaw this thing. If I've heard about the crisis situation, would have made crisis. It's very easy to create crisis. Yes, very easy to create crisis, and then you come in. So it has killed a lot of people, but some of us survived because, again, if you are not tenacious, if you are not, if you don't know what you want, if you're just coming in one leg in, one leg out, you want to test the waters, you will easily be frustrated. But some of us that doesn't have any content on the high sea, you don't have any shop and an alaba anywhere, this is the only business you have known, probably since you left school, you have to stick to it and then go through the whole hog. And then now it's easier because a lot of us have abandoned that business to do other things, of course, because the model has changed. So I'm saying that it is difficult on up and coming generation or producers. Okay. So that is it. Then for the digital switchover, I remember when the conversation started with other countries, when we travel for markets, this COP, everywhere. I mean, other countries tell you how they have switched over. And then we come here. When this administration came into power, the Minister of Information then had a lot of meetings with us, I think 2 or 3 times, promising that in the next 2 months, we are going to experience. And a lot of people also got the license to establish their own TV channel, hoping that it was going to happen almost immediately. As I'm talking to you right now, some of the stations have folded because they can't compete. Now, again, when you go to the agencies or the advertisers, they tell you that they better put their commercials in terrestrial station that put it on cable. That research have shown them that a lot more people still watch the terrestrial stations rather than the cable station. So what they have done with the independent producers buying airtime and killing businesses is what they are doing again with people who have channels now who can't pay salaries, who can't sustain the business because what they have said they're going to do, they have not done it.
All
That's
right.
mine.
Thank you very much. Quickly, we have less than 10 minutes. Paul, let me have you also weigh in on this DSO issue we're talking about.
Well, truth is, Victor has said it all. Uh, what I'm just going to do is ask that question because a lot of us who are producers, who are independent producers, are waiting for this digital switch over. What exactly is keeping it? I want to tell you something. Believe me, if this happens, we will not come to ask whether TV stations are selling airtime or not. Nobody will be interested in their model of business. We won't be interested in that. If NBC has a producers at heart, we need to understand what is keeping this thing from happening. Other countries have switched over. What is keeping us, please?
Thank you. So,
Can I just
okay.
because I have a channel. Yes. Okay, so one of the first things they told us, they said before the year something. I can't remember, it was like 2 years. 2015.
2015 was
So some of us who had our licenses thought it was time to start to activate that, hoping that that was going to happen in July of 2015. So I started out in 2014, invested a lot of money, hoping that we'd have a level playing field, commissioned a lot of programs, believing that in the next 1 year, when I'm ready to air all these programs, there will be no more terrestrial TV. And so all of us will be operating on a level playing field. This is 2018, and all that money has gone down the drain because I can tell you what the reality is. The reality is the only advertisers I have are people I have personal relationships with. As a business, no sane company will come to me when I am on, what's it called?
Start.
I'm on the DSO, I'm on Star Times, My TV. Channels is on all these platforms plus terrestrial. AIT is on all these platforms plus terrestrial. STV is on all these platforms plus terrestrial. Exactly for free. Whereas all these other people are saying you should come and pay. Now, what would be the rationale behind any multinational coming to put advert on my platform when they can get everything I'm on plus more for the same or even less? Because those people are operating without a cost to them that is additional. When somebody like me goes to Star Times tells me to come and pay them. Meanwhile, I'm not taking part of their subscription fees. I mean, the whole thing is a bit funny. It's as if the government has structured for you to fail. It's almost like, we're not saying give us handouts. We're saying create an enabling environment. And when you say something, I was at a conference last week, and when I started complaining, then I heard the people who have invested in going to bring set-up boxes talking. I shut up. That is, you they cry. Then you see another person where you all cry loud past your own.
In your own na will, your own na
So
cry.
you know when he cry shock you, you go go stop to cry, begin look, I can't tell her sorry. That's where we are at. We have people who have invested billions, who have been ruined as a result of the failure of the government to stand by what it has said and implement policies that would enable this multi-billion-dollar industry growth. Is it that the government does not want progress? Because I can't understand it. It will make government money. What is the issue? Let us ask it again.
Okay. So let's have your reaction, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me apologize on behalf of the government for the delay you experienced. But let me explain it this way.
Let's have one house.
Well, when I say apologize, just as you said, several promises have been made, and when you make promise and it fails, what are the reason for your failure? Those who are disappointed will always express their disappointment, which is what is happening here. I must say that the DSO process has been on for over 12 years, but it has suffered a lot of government neglect, government projects in words, but not in action, until 2016. when this current government, decided to move it forward. But anyway, late in Jonathan's administration. Then, when that happened in Jos on April 30th, 2016, we all have these high hopes that from there we move because we use Jos to our lessons as experiment and the rest of them. But again, what you find out that DSO is so expensive that it's only government that can fund it. So if government pulls its leg back or stop to take foot forward, everything is at a standstill. So the first problem was that we needed, or the commission needed, the political will of the government to move it forward, which came in once, but which is about to come again now. From now we can move on. But that's a story for another day. Okay. But the question, the real problem the real problem now is the set-top boxes. Government subsidized the first 1 million for the introduction of the system in some states. That has been exhausted. And before that one was exhausted, the dollar value went up and Naira went down. Now the problem we now have is how do we manage the costs of a set-top box so that you, the man who would use it, can afford it. That has been the major thing, which I think has been resolved, which will be made published very soon. So I'm coming. Now, the question again is, for the independent producers, like Madam Agata here, I will encourage you to hold on. Don't despair. In the next 2 months, it's not in the next two. Yes, clean your face. In the next 2 months, you will be happy that you are already on the bouquet because a lot of things are going on, and as it is, you may not know until we are ready for phase 2.
Okay, sir. Let me ask this pointedly. Are you saying that in the next 2 months, this almighty switch over will occur?
No.
Let's get it.
Let me put this way: the switch over has started. We have done it in 6 states now. 6 states now. Yeah. You understand that we have done it in 6 states. It's no more whether we are on or not. 6 states are on.
Okay.
So when the process, let me just make it plain. The STB, you said you saw them talking and you said, oh, your own is a small matter. These manufacturers, they were the big problems because, sorry if I call them problems, that's their problems. So
sir, let's begin to round up.
Yes, the challenge was the bigger one because the way they were giving that assignment or the job itself, the dollar suddenly upturned everything. So the dollar component in the set-top boxes became very expensive. And they said they were not going to produce anything until we get to a level where they can recoup their own investment. But we are now saying, okay, you don't, how do I put it now? Yes, you are doing that, but we're also doing it in a way that the viewer will be able to pay. So we try to reach a balancing point, which I think we have just arrived at. Right. Very soon, these things will move forward.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for him. Come on. Thank you. Okay, let's begin to round up. Let me take. Okay. Okay, let's have just three questions. Short questions, please. We're out of time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My name is Madu Sichikondo. I have been a former president of our Association of Movie Producers. I just want to add to what my good friend from NTA in those days, over 20 years now, said about crisis. From my own experience, so like when we had issues with DSTV, it actually just takes one well-written letter from any of the stakeholder unions, and something will happen. That's the truth. I know from experience, and I am very willing to participate in the drafting of that letter, if you know what that means. No, yes, that's it. Something will happen, and we'll copy the minister. Something will happen. It has always happened. The thing is that we're all too busy making money or trying to make money. And then when they pass this, they go to review their law. All the presidents are always reviewing and reviewing. I don't know what they're reviewing. And then we ignore them. And they sneak in some funny for because like those things that Agatha suggested, when they are doing the next endless review, we can actually get together and say, this is what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello? Yes. You did mention that the issue of airtime is strictly business. If it is strictly business, why do you get involved with the amount of advertising that should be on my program? I don't want to get involved when it comes, to the fact that airtime is being paid. Then, apart from that's number one. Then, very quickly, I just want to point out to you why the children's belt is being occupied by foreign content. It is because a lot of the kiddies programs are off air because of this same airtime issue. I give you an example. KKB show was running on about 30 channels, sponsored by Milo. Ribena. And the guy was giving this broadcast station steady money for 4 years. Immediately, Ribena pulled out of KKB show. The stations threw him out like a piece of rag. That guy right now is not running on any channel. Yes. So, that is the reason. And kiddies' belt is very key to our country because our children are becoming adults when they should be children. They are the ones who know shaku shaku when it comes out first, because that is where you play the music, their time belt. Okay? And you want the Nigerian child to be a Nigerian when all you give to the child is foreign content. Nickelodeon, which check out our kids. When they talk about Ben 10, they talk about the characters in those programs. So they are no longer, once they become 18, they want to go to Libya so that they can cross to Europe. And you're laughing. That's one of the reasons. So please, look into this issue.
Okay, we will.
I've been to NBCO. Excuse me. What I'm telling you now, I put in a long letter. I saw the secretary to your commission, and I dropped it. This is the third month. And she's telling me they've not had one meeting so that they can discuss the issue. Because that issue is key to me because I'm a mother. I don't want my child to become an adult when my child is supposed to be a child.
I agree with you. But let me okay. Okay, just briefly, first one, you involved in the number of minutes in your sports advert. You see, the idea is this. The relationship is between NBC and the broadcast station. To you, that program is yours, but to the commission, that program belongs to the station. So the rule is actually for the station and not for you. So as I said earlier, the first session that came, so the first session that the session before this one, somebody said negotiations. All these things are negotiations between you and the stations.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. My name is Benson Akindeyu, AK Media MD. Well, it is rather too painful that we are listening to all these stories day in, day out. Every time we go to seminar, it's the same story we listen to. NBC, let me just focus on NBC because we don't have enough time to discuss this. I don't know what NBC is doing because you are really getting it wrong totally. In the first place, we are not being regulated very well. Like Agara said, there are so many things. Each time you want to organize your seminar, you go to Jos, go to Kaduna, and the producers, they are in Lagos, where we can sit down and discuss all this matter we are talking about. You don't expect you to come to Jos now to come and discuss issues.
Why?
Each time you go to Jos, you go to Kaduna. How many producers do you have in Jos? How many do you have in Kaduna?
Sorry.
We have majority of them.
Sorry, 1 minute. When you get to Kano, how many people do you see?
We ask some of them to go from here. You understand me?
Yes.
And we are the producers. We are in Lagos. We are based here. So many of the producers. So we want you to really handle us properly.
We will.
Let us know what we are doing about this regulated thing. Because I've been in this industry for over 3 decades. And I can tell you, we are no more enjoying anything again. Unlike in those days, when we go to Ghana, we sell to the stations. The stations sell to the advertisers. And we make our good money. So we just you have to help us. Whether you are the one to regulate this or not. You, NBC is still the umbrella body. You need to help us. God bless you.
Thank you.
Can I just say something quickly? Based on what you just said, now I want to withdraw my statement. That if you say your business, just what you responded to Jibe, you said your business is primarily with the broadcaster, not the independent producer. What that means, or what that tells me, is that I really have no business getting adverts. No, by implication. By implication. We're back to where we started from. Now you cannot say that and then close a blind eye to the fact that we're struggling for adverts and paying airtime. What it means to me is that in your original regulatory book, we were not supposed to be the ones putting adverts in our programs. That means in the constitution of MB